You're listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
Rewind 93.9 WYEC, Mid-Morning in the Cities. I'm Sean Patrick, and I'm very excited because my guest today is an actor I've followed for quite a while now, from House to his brief time on Scrubs, and he's been on Law & Order SVU and a number of other series. Michael Weston is joining us today. Michael, thank you for your time.
Hey, pleasure, man. Good morning, everyone.
So the new series is called Houdini and Doyle. It debuts Monday on Fox. This show is a lot of fun, man.
Cool. I'm glad you dig it.
The premise here...
Yeah, it was a blast. What's that?
The premise here is so unique. People don't know this, but Harry Houdini and Arthur Conan Doyle, the man behind Sherlock Holmes, were real-life friends. I don't know if they've solved crimes together, but...
Yeah, we did play fast and loose with a little bit of history. These guys, what's great, these guys did have a real friendship, and that's what the show is based on, and they sort of battled it out over the supernatural. And the funny part about it to me was always that, Harry Houdini is a magician and the conjurer and the escape artist, and Sherlock Holmes is, Arthur Conan Doyle is the scholar, scientist, doctor, and sort of behind early forensics at Scotland Yard, and he believes in ghosts, and Harry Houdini is the skeptic. And I think that it's a really fun repartee for the two of them. They sort of battle it out.
Houdini was famed as a skeptic. He really just did not like people trying to take advantage of other people using essentially what he felt was magic.
Yeah. I think he was adamant about saying that all of his tricks were tricks, and he was such a realist about that stuff. And I think he also he sort of wanted to take credit for what he was doing, because he was meticulous about sort of how he went about it, and he liked the thrill of that. But he'd also been a medium at a time in his life, so he knew what these guys were up to, and he sort of made it his personal crusade to pull the curtain on them, and then it was, I think, in the series, and I think in real life, he was sort of befuddled that Arthur Conan Doyle, this incredibly intelligent man who he admired a lot, could be, could believe in ghosts and all of this other crap that he thought was so ridiculous.
Actor Michael Weston, one of the stars of Houdini and Doyle, our guest today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. Very excited to be talking to him today, and we'll continue this conversation after this. Mid-Morning in the Cities is presented by Curves Davenport on Rewind 93.9. Mid-Morning at the Movies with Sean Patrick and Linda Cook. Fridays on Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC. You're listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC. Actor Michael Weston is our guest today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. We're talking about the new series Houdini and Doyle, and we're talking about skepticism and Harry Houdini, a famous skeptic. Where do you fall? Do you have any belief in the supernatural, or are you a complete skeptic?
It's funny. I was talking about it. David Shore created this, and he created House, and David Hosselton, also one of the writers. We were sitting around and we were talking about this stuff because they are such realists, and I fancy myself, pretty pragmatic and a skeptic about most of that stuff. But I've had a situation once or twice in my life that just put enough of a question mark on it, and I guess what I love about this series, and series like the X-Files and stuff like that, where you don't quite know, and I feel like that's all of these questions about the supernatural and the afterlife. And, even the biggest skeptic in the world can't quite put a period on it, because we don't know. There isn't really any proof, and even for myself, and I feel like I don't totally believe in it, and then. There are a couple question marks out there that, put me on pretty shaky ground.
And that is a wonderful driver for the kind of mix of drama and comedy that you're putting into this show.
Yeah, I think it's funny, especially for like a Harry Houdini who was such a skeptic, to be teamed up with someone who is his at once his rival and his equal. And for the two of them, to really battle it out on this, because they are big questions, and they sort of get into everything. and then these guys end up sort of competing on all fronts. You know, if they were walking down a block, I think they'd see who gets to the end of it first.
Tell us about your co-star, Stephen Mangan.
Hilarious Brit. It's funny because I got this part, and a week later I was shooting, and it was an all English cast, and so I was sort of thrust into like the period world of the UK, where like they live this stuff, they own it and they live it, and all the extras they're serious about it, and Stephen Mangum, great actor from episodes, he graduated from all of those, the Rotter Botter, one of those, academies, and so it was really funny. We hit it off immediately, and I was much more of a crass American, and that's sort of how we did it in the series, and our repartee sort of on screen and off was really fun, and I think as our friendship got more comfortable off screen, I think we really had more and more fun as the series progressed.
Houdini and Doyle is the series. It starts on Monday night on Fox, and we'll continue this conversation and wrap things up next on Mid-Morning in the Cities, presented by Curves Davenport on Rewind 93.9.
Well, you enjoy the greatest hits of all time on your radio. You can get the latest local news on your mobile device with QuadCityDailyNews.com. You're listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
We're in our final moments with actor Michael Weston, one of the stars of the new series Houdini and Doyle, debuting on Fox on Monday night. In your career, what has been your favorite experience so far?
Wow. I've had such a fun career, man. I've done a bunch of TV and movies and theater, and I feel so lucky to work in this medium. I really truly love it, and it's a blessing in itself. I always feel like when you work on something, this has to be one of the best experiences of my life, just because it was such a privilege to inhabit this guy's skin for a little while. He's such an incredible figure in history that I learned a lot about as I was doing this, and holds such a place of wonder in people's hearts. Like my wife came out of the closet as a Houdini fan, and when I got this part, she said, "Oh, I love that guy." So I learned a lot, and then being in England and doing this part, being able to sort of be on a big period set like that, it was so much fun. So I'd have to put this pretty high up on the books there.
What do you want people to know most about Houdini and Doyle?
I think that it's a really fun romp. It's an adventure, and there's some suspense and thrills, and I think you get a really unique take on that piece of history in that time.
Well, Michael Weston, thank you so much, and I got some friends in the military who wanted me to tell you thank you for what you did on Scrubs as a private dancer. They were big fans, and they really appreciated your work there.
Well, return my thanks to them, heartfelt.
Michael Weston, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
That was great, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you missed any part of this interview with Michael Weston from the series Houdini and Doyle, which debuts on Monday night on Fox, you can catch it online in a few moments in our Mid-Morning in the Cities podcast at QuadCityDailyNews.com. QuadCityDailyNews.com is powered by local radio. Mid-Morning in the Cities presented by Curves Davenport on Rewind 93.9.
Well, you enjoy the greatest hits of all time on your radio. You can get the latest local news on your mobile device with QuadCityDailyNews.com.